Jonathan Hayes, a multi-billionaire CEO, was sifting through emails when he saw her on her knees, scrubbing his Italian marble floor, and suddenly, for no logical reason, his entire body froze. Time stood still. Because he didn't see an employee, he saw a queen on her knees, just like 372 years ago, when she was executed for loving him, and he cried out, a cry that echoed across the ages. It was Tuesday, 6 a.m. in New York City. Emily Carter had slept exactly 3 hours, in the back seat of a borrowed cab, with her 3-year-old daughter Lily nestled against her chest, because 48 hours earlier, the landlord had evicted them from their tiny apartment, without warning, without compassion. The rent was barely 2 weeks late, due to reduced hours at her diner job. 2 suitcases, that was all Emily had in the world. Used clothes for herself and Lily, some broken toys, a faded photo of her deceased mother, and a dignity that refused to break. Even though her body trembled with hunger, and her heart bled with fear, she'd cried those 3 hours of sleep, silent tears, so as not to wake Lily. Tears that she didn't know came from past lives, from ancient tragedies, from promises broken centuries ago. If you've ever felt like you know someone you've just met, stick around until the end, because this story will change the way you understand inexplicable connections, souls that recognize each other, loves that transcend time. At 7 a.m., Emily called the only number she had, a domestic employment agency. A cold voice on the other end. "We have a position, large house, Upper East Side. The employer is demanding, pays well, but fires quickly. Interested?" Emily looked at Lily sleeping. She looked at the suitcases. She looked at her trembling hands. She said, "Yes." Desperation. Has no pride. Jonathan Hayes' mansion occupied half a block in the most exclusive area of the Upper East Side. 3 stories, 8 bedrooms, gardens that looked like they came from a European magazine, marble floors imported from Vermont, chandeliers made of Austrian crystal, paintings by artists whose names Emily couldn't even pronounce, a world so far removed from her own, it might as well have been another planet. Jonathan had inherited this real estate empire from his father, Hayes Enterprises, 50 buildings in the city, millions in monthly revenue, divorced 5 years ago from a woman who only loved his money, no children because he never felt a real connection with anyone, an obsessive workaholic, up at 5 a.m., working until 11 p.m., slept little, dreamed less, or so he thought, because every night without fail, he dreamed of a dark-haired woman whose face he couldn't quite see, a woman who called him by a name that wasn't his, Daniel, and he always woke up with a feeling of loss, so profound that his chest physically ached. Jonathan was 42 years old, successful to the world, empty inside. Something in him always knew. Something was missing. Someone, a piece of his soul, that was lost somewhere in the universe. He sought therapy. He sought travel. He sought superficial relationships that never filled the void. He never imagined that the answer would come on her knees, cleaning his floor, dressed in a cheap uniform. When Emily rang the doorbell at 8 a.m., an older housekeeper opened the door. Mrs. Higgins, 60 years old, had worked there for 15 years. She gave Emily a quick once-over. Another new employee, the 5th this month. "Mr. Hayes is difficult, doesn't like noise, doesn't like inefficiency, doesn't like you looking him in the eye. Here are the rules. Clean in silence. Don't touch anything personal. Finish before 3 p.m. Emily nodded. She was used to being invisible her whole life. She'd been invisible to the rich. Mrs. Higgins led her to the maid's quarters, a space of 10 feet by 10 feet, single bed, a small bathroom, a window that looked out onto a grey wall. But for Emily, it was a palace, because Lily would have a place to sleep, warm, safe, No more cabs, no more streets. Tears welled up in her eyes again. Tears of relief, tears of gratitude. Tears that, unbeknownst to her, came from a soul that had spent centuries waiting to come home. She was given a uniform, grey, simple, 2 sizes too big because they didn't have her size, black plastic shoes, a white apron with old stains. Emily changed in the bathroom. She looked in the mirror. She didn't recognize herself because in another life, in another time, in another world, she wore silk dresses, embroidered with gold thread, a ruby crown, a necklace of pearls, brought from the Indies. She was Lady Eleanor of Aquitaine, queen consort, beloved by the people, prisoner of the court, and secretly in love with a dark-eyed soldier who protected her with his life. But Emily didn't remember any of that. Yet, she only felt, sometimes, an inexplicable emptiness, as if she had lost something precious, a long time ago, as if she was waiting for someone who never came, as if her soul knew something that her mind couldn't comprehend. Mrs. Higgins showed her the routine. First floor, Jonathan's office. Do not enter if the door is closed. Second floor, bedrooms, clean the ones that aren't being used. Third floor, terrace. Jonathan sometimes has breakfast there. Not today. He's in the office on the first floor, working, as always. Don't bother him. Emily understood. She grabbed the bucket, the mop, the cleaning spray, expensive products that smelled of French lavender. She started in the main hallway, white marble floor, with grey veins, cold beneath her knees, and it was there, at 9:37 a.m., when everything changed. When the universe conspired, when two souls, separated by 372 years, 3 months and 12 days, finally reunited. Emily was on her knees, scrubbing a stubborn stain near the office door, focused, humble, invisible, as she always was. Her dark hair pulled back in a simple ponytail, her face without makeup, showing dark circles from sleepless nights, her hands red and chapped from so much work. A 28-year-old woman who looked 40, because poverty ages the body, even if the soul remains young. Jonathan opened his office door. He was going out to get a document. He was thinking about the 11 a.m. meeting, about the sales numbers, about the new building on Park Avenue, his mind racing, as always. And then he saw her, and the world stopped. Literally, time froze, like in a movie. The posture, on her knees, head bowed, hands on the floor, exactly as he saw her, the last time, in 1653, in the courtyard of the royal palace. When the Inquisition forced her to kneel, when they took away her crown, when they condemned her for loving him, when she looked at him with tears in her eyes and whispered, "I'll recognize you in every life, my love." Jonathan felt the floor move beneath his feet, his vision blurred. For a second, barely a second, he didn't see white marble. He saw ancient castle stone. He didn't see electric light. He saw torches. He didn't see a cleaning lady in a grey uniform. He saw a queen in a blue velvet gown, a golden crown, eyes filled with tears, looking at him, begging him, saying goodbye. And from his throat came a scream he didn't even understand, a scream that came from 372 years of accumulated loss. A scream that pierced dimensions. "My queen!" He shouted that in old Spanish that he didn't know he knew. "My queen!" Emily startled. She turned sharply. She saw him for the first time, and something in her chest broke, or was fixed. She didn't know which, because when her eyes met Jonathan's, the whole world disappeared. Only the two of them remained, looking at each other, recognizing each other, without understanding how, without understanding why, only feeling that this had already happened, that this is real, that this is impossible. And tears began to fall from Emily's eyes, without permission, without reason. Tears that came from a deep place she didn't even know existed. Tears that had been waiting 372 years to fall. Tears that recognized those dark eyes, that face that changed but the soul did not, that presence that her spirit knew, but her mind couldn't process. Jonathan took a step toward her, stumbling, his hand extended as if he wanted to touch her, as if he needed to confirm she was real, his breathing erratic, his heart pounding so hard he could hear it in his ears, and in his mind, images, flashes like lightning, a rose garden, hands intertwined, a stolen kiss behind a column, a promise whispered in his ear. I will find you, in every life. Emily stood up quickly, scared, confused. Excuse me, sir, she stammered. I don't know what. Her voice trembled, her hands too. The mop fell to the floor with a thud that echoed in the tense silence. She stepped back. Too. Jonathan blinked. He returned to reality, or tried to, because reality had become liquid, malleable, confusing. He looked at her, really looked at her. She wasn't extraordinarily beautiful in the conventional sense. She wasn't wearing expensive clothes. She didn't have makeup. She didn't have anything that should draw his attention. But there was something in those brown eyes, something in the way she looked at him, as if she recognized him too, as if she also felt this impossible connection that had no name or explanation. What's your name? His voice came out raspy, broken. Emily swallowed. Emily Carter, sir. He nodded slowly, as if processing. Emily, not Eleanor, of course, because in this life she isn't Eleanor. In this life she's Emily, a cleaning lady, poor, alone, but her soul is the same. Her soul is his queen. Something inside Jonathan screamed, recognize her. It's her, the one you've been searching for, the one you lost. The reason why you could never love anyone else. She's here, in front of you, after centuries, after infinite lives searching for her. She's here. But his rational mind, his CEO side, his business logic, all that screamed louder. You're crazy. She's just a cleaning lady. You don't know her. This is absurd. Leave. Get back to work. Ignore this. I'm sorry, was all Jonathan managed to say. I didn't mean to scare you. Continue with your work. He turned around, went back to his office and closed the door, leaned against it, breathing as if he had run a marathon. His mind was chaos. His heart was a storm. His hands trembled so much that he had to sit down. Outside, Emily picked up the mop with trembling hands. Her tears wouldn't stop. What was that? Why did I cry? Why did I feel like I know him? Why did my heart break when he said my queen? Because she did hear it. Of course she heard it. And something inside her responded, something ancestral, something eternal, something that transcends lives. She finished cleaning that hallway with trembling hands, with a racing heart, with a mind full of unanswered questions. She didn't dare to look toward the office, but she felt his presence behind that door. She could feel him even though she didn't see him, as if their souls were connected by an invisible thread that crossed time and space, a thread that not even death could cut. That night, Jonathan couldn't sleep, not a minute. He stayed in his king-size bed, looking at the ceiling, reliving that moment, those eyes, those tears, that mutual recognition that has no logical explanation. At 3 a.m., he got up, went to his personal library, searched for books he had never read, reincarnation, past lives, soulmates, everything he always considered pseudo-scientific garbage. But now he needed answers. And he found something, an old book, inherited from his Spanish great-grandfather, with yellowed pages that smelled of centuries, history of the court of Philip IV. He opened it at random, and his hands froze, because there, in an old illustration, was a soldier, captain of the Royal Guard, Daniel Hayes, executed in 1653 by the Holy Inquisition, accused of seducing the Queen Consort Lady Eleanor of Aquitaine. The soldier's eyes were his eyes, exactly his eyes. Jonathan slammed the book shut. This is impossible, this is... But then he remembered. His last name, Hayes, the same last name as the soldier, and his great-grandfather. Spanish, from Castile, from the same region where... He stood up abruptly, walked in circles, breathing rapidly. No. This is coincidence. It has to be coincidence. But his heart, his damn heart knew it wasn't. His heart recognized that woman. His soul shouted her name. Eleanor, my queen. In the maid's room, Emily wasn't sleeping either. Lily rested peacefully beside her, but she looked at the window, the stars barely visible in the polluted city sky, and for some reason, she began to hum a song she had never heard before, in a language she didn't know, Old Spanish, a lullaby that Eleanor sang to Daniel when they were alone, when no one saw them, when only the two of them existed in the entire universe. And as she sang, silent tears fell down her cheeks because something inside her knew that she had found something she had been searching for all her life, all her lives. That man with dark eyes, that stranger who isn't a stranger, that unknown person whom her soul knows better than anyone. The next day, Jonathan arrived early at the mansion, earlier than ever. At 6 a.m., Mrs. Higgins was surprised. "You never arrive at this hour, Mr. Hayes." He muttered something about documents, about work. But the truth is that he needed to see her again, confirm that he hadn't dreamed it, confirm that that connection was real. Emily was in the kitchen, preparing breakfast for Lily. Bread with jam, warm milk. The little girl ate happily in her makeshift high chair. When Jonathan entered, time stopped again. She saw him, he saw her, and that recognition, that damned recognition hit them again like a wave. "Good morning." Jonathan tried to sound normal, casual, as if her world hadn't just been turned upside down. Emily lowered her gaze. "Good morning, Mr. Hayes. Would you like coffee?" He nodded. He sat at the kitchen island, watching her, the way she moved. Graceful, elegant even in a maid's uniform, as if she had been trained to move with royal dignity. And then it happened. Emily reached up to grab a mug from the high shelf. Her blouse rode up slightly, and Jonathan saw it. On her left shoulder, a birthmark, in the shape of a fleur-de-lis, the symbol of royalty, the symbol of the House of Aquitaine. The glass of water Jonathan held slipped, shattering into 1,000 pieces against the Italian marble floor. Emily jumped, turning. "Are you all right, Mr. Hayes?" But he didn't respond. He was paralyzed, staring at that mark, that damned mark, because in the book he read last night, in the description of Lady Eleanor of Aquitaine, it mentioned a distinctive feature, a fleur-de-lis-shaped birthmark on her left shoulder, exactly where Emily has it. This is no coincidence. It can't be anymore. Jonathan stood abruptly. Emily backed away, frightened. "Excuse me, I need..." And he left the kitchen almost running, leaving her confused and scared, trembling. Because if some stories exist only to change everything we believe possible, this is one of them. If some people are destined to meet, no matter how much time passes, no matter how many lives they live, Jonathan and Emily are those people. And what's coming will force them to believe in the impossible, to accept the unexplainable, to surrender to a truth that spans centuries, that transcends logic, that proves that true love, the love of soulmates, never dies. It only waits. It only searches. It only promises. "I will recognize you in every life, my love." And now, 372 years later, that promise was about to be fulfilled. Jonathan spent the rest of that day locked in his office. He cancelled all meetings, ignored 47 calls from his assistant. He didn't eat. didn't drink water. He only stared at that birthmark, etched in his mind like a photograph, fleur-de-lis, exactly as the book described, exactly where it should be. This is coincidence, he repeated 1,000 times. The odds of her, of me. But the math didn't work. The statistics didn't add up, because this was impossible. And yet it was happening. His rational mind, trained at Harvard Business School, was fighting something deeper, something ancestral that he couldn't ignore. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw flashes, a garden, she in a blue dress, he in metal armor, hands intertwined, whispers in the darkness. I love you, my captain. And then flames, screams, the smell of burning, and pain. So much pain that his chest tightened in the present as if it were burning again. No. Jonathan opened his eyes abruptly. This is madness. I'm losing my mind. I need professional help. No, I need to get her away. Fire her before I go completely insane. He picked up his phone, dialed Mrs. Higgins. Fire her. That's what he was going to say. But when he opened his mouth, no words came out, because something in him violently rebelled against the idea. No, you just found her. 372 years searching for her. You can't let her go again. He hung up the phone. He sank into his leather chair. This is wrong. Everything is wrong. I'm her employer. She's vulnerable. She needs this job. And I'm here fantasizing that she's the reincarnation of a queen dead centuries ago. I need help. Real. Professional. That night, Jonathan slept. Finally slept. And the dream was so vivid that when he woke up, he didn't know for a moment where he was, in what century he was. It was 1652, Royal Palace of Madrid, secret garden behind the chapel, full moon, white roses that smelled of eternity, and there she was, Eleanor, his Eleanor, in an emerald evening gown, hair loose, falling like a dark waterfall, smiling. That smile she only gave him. Captain Daniel Hayes waited hidden among the columns, Royal Guard uniform, sword at his belt, heart beating so loudly that he thought they would discover him just by the sound. You came, she whispered. I always come, he replied, even if it cost me my life. And he kissed her, a kiss that tasted of farewell, of danger, of a love so great that it defied laws and consequences. His hands on her waist, hers on his neck, breathing the same air, being one, the world disappearing, only them, only that stolen moment, only that impossible love. I will look for you in every life, Daniel, Eleanor promised against his lips. When this is over, when I'm no longer here, I will look for you, and I will find you. Do you swear it? Eleanor asked with tears in her eyes. I swear it by God and my immortal soul. I will recognize you. No matter how much time passes, no matter in what body you return, my soul will know yours. And then, torchlight, shouts, guards running. They have discovered the queen with the captain. Treason, blasphemy, heresy. Daniel drew his sword. Protect her escape. Kills 3 guards, but there are too many. They capture him. They capture her too. Eleanor screams his name. Daniel, Daniel, no, let him go. It was my fault. I seduced him. The dream changed. Now it was execution. Public square. Daniel tied to a stake. Wood piled at his feet. Eleanor forced to watch from a balcony. Crown still on her head because the king wants to humiliate her. Wants her to see what her sin caused. They light the fire. Daniel doesn't scream. He just looks at her. He only tells her with his eyes what he can't say with words. I love you. I will look for you. Wait for me. And Eleanor screams so much that her voice breaks. Her tears fall like rain, and she swears, in that moment, before God and the universe, I will recognize you, my love. In every life, in every face, I will recognize you. Jonathan woke up screaming, Eleanor. He screamed that name with a broken voice, with tears in his eyes. with physical pain in his chest as if the fire still burned him. It was 3:27 a.m., his bed soaked in sweat, his hands trembling, his heart broken, because it wasn't just a dream, it was a memory, so real that he could smell the smoke, feel the heat, hear her screams, and at that exact moment, 3:27 a.m., in the maid's room 3 floors below, Emily sat up abruptly in bed, screaming too, "Daniel!" She screamed that name she had never heard before, with the same desperation, with the same tears, with the same ancestral pain that crossed centuries to manifest itself now. Lily woke up scared. "Mommy, what's wrong?" Emily hugged her, breathing fast. "I don't know, baby. I had a nightmare." But it wasn't a nightmare. It was a memory of a life she lived, of a love she had, of a promise she made. And although they didn't realize it at that moment, Jonathan and Emily screamed each other's names at the same time, 3:27 a.m., synchronized, as if their souls were still connected by that invisible thread that not even 372 years could sever. The next morning arrived far too quickly. Emily had dark circles under her eyes so profound they looked like bruises. Jonathan didn't look any better. When they crossed paths in the hallway, they both stopped. They looked at each other, and for a terrifying and beautiful second, they saw the other, not as they are now, but as they were then. He saw Lady Eleanor in an emerald gown. She saw Daniel in armor, and they had to look away, quickly, before collapsing, before doing something they couldn't explain. That afternoon, Jonathan did something he never thought he'd do. He called his friend, Dr. Arthur Bennett, psychiatrist, 65 years old, specialist in regression and hypnotherapy. They'd known each other since college. Arthur had tried for years to convince him to explore his recurring dreams. Jonathan always refused, until now. "I need to see you, urgently." Jonathan's voice sounded broken. Arthur heard something he'd never heard in his friend. Fear, real, profound. "Come to my office tomorrow, 10 a.m. I can't wait until tomorrow. Today, please." They met at 8 p.m. in Arthur's private office. An office filled with books on psychology, neuroscience, past lives. Jonathan told him everything, every detail. The scream, the recognition, the birthmark, the book, the dreams, everything. Arthur listened without interrupting, taking notes. His expression a mixture of professional fascination and the concern of a friend. When Jonathan finished, Arthur leaned back in his chair. He took a deep breath. "What you're describing is called soul recognition. It's rare, very rare, but documented. I've been studying this for 40 years, Jonathan. I've seen cases, few, but real. People who recognize each other for no logical reason. Birthmarks that coincide with wounds from past lives. Shared dreams." Jonathan felt relief and terror at the same time. "So, I'm not crazy." Arthur smiled sadly. "You're not crazy, but you're in a complicated situation. Because if this is real, if she is who your soul says she is, then you need to prepare yourself. This is going to change everything." Jonathan left there with more questions than answers, but with one certainty. He wasn't alone in this, and he wasn't crazy, or at least not more than the scientists who had been documenting these phenomena for decades. A week passed, a week of torture for both of them. Jonathan couldn't stop watching her. From the office, from the dining room, from anywhere she was working. The way she moved her hands, the tilt of her head when she was thinking, the little gesture of touching her neck when she was nervous. Everything was familiar to him, as if he'd seen it 1,000 times before, because he had seen it. In another life, in another time. Emily felt his gaze, always, like a constant burn on her skin, and it confused her, terrified her, because when he looked at her, something in her awakened, something that had no name, something that made her want to run toward him and away from him at the same time. At night, she dreamed. always the same dream, a castle, a garden, a man in uniform who kissed her as if it were the end of the world, and she woke up crying, missing something, someone, without understanding what or who. What would you do in this situation? If you felt like you knew someone you had just met, if your soul screamed that this person was important, but your mind told you it was impossible, stay tuned, because what's coming will prove that some connections don't need logic, only faith. One afternoon, Mrs. Higgins asked Emily to clean the attic. "No one's been up there in years," she said. "It's full of dust, of old things from the family's great-grandfather. They brought everything from England when they emigrated." Emily nodded, took her cleaning supplies, climbed the narrow stairs to the third floor, opened the attic door, and the smell of old things hit her. Old wood, decades of dust, secrets kept. The attic was filled with boxes, furniture covered with white sheets, now grey, paintings stacked against the wall, an old trunk with a rusty lock. Emily began cleaning mechanically, but something stopped her. An open box in a corner, with objects that shone faintly under the filtered light from the single window. She approached, looked inside, and her heart stopped, because there, among yellow documents and old photographs, was a locket made of gold, antique, with a delicate chain. She took it with trembling hands, opened it, and inside there was a miniature portrait, hand-painted, of a woman, young, beautiful, wearing a period dress, and it was her face, exactly her face. Emily dropped the locket, stepped back, her breathing quickened. No, this isn't possible. She picked up the locket again, looked at it more closely in better light. The portrait was from centuries ago. You could tell by the technique, by the faded colors, by the style. But the woman, the eyes, the shape of the face, the curve of the lips, she was identical to her. She turned the locket over, and on the back, engraved in old cursive, it was written, "Eleanor plus Daniel, 1652, forever." Tears began to fall without Emily being able to control them, because this couldn't be a coincidence. This couldn't be. Her mind couldn't process it, but her heart recognized that object, as if she had worn it, as if she had loved it, as if it were hers. She heard footsteps on the stairs. Jonathan, he had heard a noise, had come up to check. He entered the attic, saw Emily on the floor, holding something, crying. He approached quickly. "What happened? Are you okay?" She couldn't speak. She just held out her hand, showing him the locket. When Jonathan saw it, his world collapsed completely, because he recognized that locket. He had seen it in his dream, hanging from Eleanor's neck the last time he saw her alive, before the execution, before everything. He took it with trembling hands, opened it, and saw the portrait. And it was then that they both had a simultaneous convulsion. It was as if lightning struck them at the same time. Jonathan and Emily grabbed onto each other instinctively, and they had a shared vision. They both saw the same thing, at the same time, as if they were there. 1653, prison cell, Eleanor chained to the wall, Daniel being dragged outside. She was screaming. He was fighting. The locket ripped from her neck by a guard, falling to the floor. She tried to reach it with chained hands. "No, it's the only thing I have of him. Please." But ignoring her, leaving her there alone with the locket on the floor, unreachable. The vision faded. Jonathan and Emily returned to the present, but they were still holding each other on the attic floor, trembling, crying, looking at each other with eyes that now knew, that now remembered, that now couldn't deny. "It was you," Jonathan whispered. "It was." Emily nodded, tears falling. "I recognize you too. I don't know how. I don't know why, but I recognize you." Their foreheads touched, breathing the same air, like 372 years ago, like in the rose garden, like it always should have been. And there, In that dusty, secret-filled attic, two souls that had searched for each other for centuries finally met, finally recognized each other, finally knew they weren't crazy, that this was real, that some promises are so powerful they transcend lifetimes, that some souls are so connected that not even time can tear them apart. The locket rested between them. Eleanor Plus Daniel, 1652, forever, and 372 years later, Emily Plus Jonathan, 2025, still forever. Jonathan took Emily to see Dr. Peterson 2 days later. She agreed because she needed answers. She needed to know if she was losing her mind, or if this was as real as it felt. Lily stayed with Mrs. Higgins, who noticed something different in the way Jonathan looked at Emily now. She wasn't just an employee anymore. She was something else. Something Mrs. Higgins couldn't quite define, but it sent shivers down her spine. Dr. Peterson's office was on the Upper East Side. Large office, decorated with abstract art, and bookshelves filled with books on psychiatry, neuroscience, paranormal phenomena. Dr. Peterson greeted them with professional curiosity, mixed with concern. Jonathan had told him about the locket over the phone, the shared vision, everything. And Dr. Peterson, in his 40 years of practice, had never seen such a well-documented case. "I want to try regressive hypnosis," Dr. Peterson explained, "with both of you at the same time. If you truly share past life memories, you should be able to access them simultaneously, and I'll record everything so you can listen back later." Emily swallowed hard, scared. Jonathan took her hand. It was instinctive, natural, as if their hands were designed to fit together. And for the first time in days, both felt peace just from that touch. Dr. Peterson led them to an adjoining room, smaller, dim lighting, 2 reclining chairs side by side, professional recorder on a table, notepad. Dr. Peterson was methodical, scientific, but he'd also learned in 4 decades that science doesn't explain everything, that there are phenomena that defy logic, and when you encounter one, you can only document, observe, marvel. Emily and Jonathan reclined, hands still intertwined. Dr. Peterson began the session in a calm voice, professional. "Close your eyes, breathe deeply. I'm going to count from 10 to 1. With each number, you'll relax more. You'll allow your conscious mind to recede, to access memories that are stored in your subconscious, in your soul. 10, 9. Dr. Peterson's voice was hypnotic. 8, 7. Emily felt her body grow heavy. 6, 5. Jonathan stopped thinking rationally. 4, 3. The present faded away. 2, 1. You're in a safe place now, a place where you can remember without fear. I want you to go back, return to the life you shared, to the time that connects you. Where are you? There was silence, and then Emily spoke. But it wasn't her voice. It was different, more refined, an old-fashioned English accent she shouldn't know. "In the palace, in London, it is 1651. I am Lady Eleanor of Aquitaine." Dr. Peterson leaned forward, fascinated, heart racing. This was happening. It was really happening. "Jonathan, describe where you are." "I am Captain of the Guard, Daniel Hayes, 33 years old. I protect Her Majesty and her lady. My lady." Jonathan's voice had changed too, formal, ancient, with vocabulary he didn't normally use. "Eleanor, do you know Captain Daniel?" Emily, in her trance, smiled. A smile that was pure love. "Yes, I know him. I shouldn't. It's forbidden. A lady cannot love a soldier, but I can't help it. When I see him, my heart recognizes him, as if always." Her tears began to fall, without opening her eyes. "Daniel, when did you meet Eleanor?" 3 years ago, the first time I saw her. She was arriving at the palace, newly married, young, scared, and when our eyes met, I knew my soul knew her, that I had been searching for her, that I had been waiting for her, though I didn't understand how or why. Jonathan's voice broke. Dr. Peterson continued, "Describe a specific moment, something that connected you." And then both spoke at the same time, with the same words, as if reading the same script. The rose garden, behind the chapel, full moon. We meet there, in secret, for 3 years. Emily continued alone. "I would give my ladies-in-waiting an excuse. I said I was going to pray, and he would wait for me, among the columns, with that smile that was just for me." Jonathan continued, "The first time I kissed her was in that garden. She was trembling. So was I. We knew that if we were discovered, death for both of us. But it didn't matter. Nothing mattered except that moment. Her lips, her breath, her heart beating against mine. And I told you," interrupted Emily in a soft voice, "I told you that I loved you, that even if it cost me my life, I wouldn't regret it, because 3 years with you were worth more than an eternity without you." Jonathan sobbed, still in a trance. "And I promised you I would find you, that if they separated us, if death took us, I would search for you in every life, that my soul would recognize yours, always." Dr. Peterson was recording everything, hands trembling. This was extraordinary. "Eleanor, what happened next?" The pain in Emily's voice was heartbreaking. "We were discovered. A jealous guard saw us in the garden, kissing. He reported it to the Crown. They came at night. They dragged Daniel away. I screamed. I fought, but they chained me. They told me I would see him die, that would be my penance for tarnishing the honor of the king, for sinning with a soldier. Daniel, do you remember your execution?" Jonathan writhed in the chair, breathing rapidly, the pain transcending time. "They tied me to a stake in the main square, Tower Hill. They piled wood, oil, and they brought her. They forced her to watch from the balcony of the town hall, still wearing her crown. They wanted the people to see that the lady was paying for her sin. Her tears, her screams were the last things I saw before the fire," Emily screamed, still in trance. No, Daniel, no." The scream was so visceral that Dr. Peterson almost stopped the session, but he continued. He needed to know. He needed to document. "Eleanor, what happened to you after?" "They poisoned me in my cell 3 days after the execution. The king ordered it to look like suicide, out of shame. But it wasn't. It was murder. And when I felt the poison, when my body started to shut down, I only thought of him, of Daniel, that soon I would be with him again. And I swore before God that he would recognize her, that no matter how many lifetimes passed, he would recognize her. Now I want you both to move forward beyond that life. What happened?" There was a long silence, and then they both spoke. "We searched for centuries. We were born. We lived. We died. Again and again. But we never found each other. Until now." Jonathan felt a chill. "Why now?" Emily responded. Because this is the life where the circumstances finally allowed us to recognize each other. Before, we were born on different continents or in different eras, or we met, but one was already married, or one died young. It was never the right time until now. Now I'm going to count from 1 to 10. With each number, you will return to the present. You will remember everything you said. 1, 2, 3. When Jonathan reached 10, Emily and Jonathan opened their eyes, and they looked at each other, and tears fell because they remembered everything, every word they had said in trance, every emotion, every pain, every promise. Jonathan stopped the recording. He took a deep breath. In 40 years, I have never seen anything like this. You are going to listen to the recording, and you're going to realize that you spoke about details that match, dates, places, names, verifiable historical events. This is not suggestion. This is not fantasy. This is, I don't know what it is, but it's real. He had them listen to the recording. 47 minutes. Every word they said. Emily heard her own voice speaking in Old English, describing the palace, the gardens, the costumes, things she never studied, that she never knew. Jonathan heard himself describing the execution with details that made him vomit. The smell of burning, the pain, the vision of her screaming, all so vivid that it couldn't be made up. When the recording ended, Jonathan took out his laptop. I have access to digitized historical archives. Let's verify. He typed into Google, Queen Consort Philip IV England, Lady Eleanor of Aquitaine. They waited, and it appeared. An academic article, Vermont University, Department of Medieval History. Jonathan read aloud. Eleanor of Aquitaine, married to Philip IV in 1648, died under suspicious circumstances in 1653. Records of the Inquisition mention a scandal in 1653 involving the Queen and a captain of the guard. The captain, identified only as D. Hayes, was executed for heresy and seduction. The Queen died days later, officially by suicide, though modern historians suspect political poisoning. Silence. Total, absolute, because this wasn't a coincidence. This couldn't be fantasy. This was historical, verifiable, real. Jonathan searched more. He found a digitized book, Proceedings of the English Inquisition, 1650-1660. He flipped through pages, and there it was. Trial against Captain Daniel Hayes. Date of execution, May 3rd, 1653. Reason, seduction of Her Majesty Queen Eleanor. Method, burned at the stake, Town Square of London. And there was more. Descriptions. Daniel Hayes, 35 years old, native of York, served in the Royal Guard for 12 years. No known family, no heirs. Emily and Jonathan watched the screen, trembling, because every detail, every damn detail matched what they had said in trance. Jonathan did one last search. Queen Eleanor of Aquitaine, distinguishing mark. He found a document. Inventory of royal belongings, 1653. And there, in a list of physical characteristics for post-mortem identification, birthmark in the shape of a fleur-de-lis, left shoulder. Emily got up abruptly. She left the office almost running. Jonathan followed her. He found her in the hallway, crying against the wall. He hugged her, and she collapsed in his arms. "This is real," she sobbed. We're not crazy. This really happened." Jonathan squeezed her tighter, tears also falling. I know. I lost you once. I'm not going to lose you again. If this doesn't seem impossible to you, if your souls aren't screaming recognition, then you didn't understand. Because what they had just witnessed, what they had just verified, destroys everything that modern science teaches about life and death, about souls and reincarnation, about love and eternity. Jonathan gave them a copy of the recording and all the historical documents he found. He recommended couples therapy to process this, to integrate these memories without them destroying them. And he told them something that Jonathan would never forget. In all my years studying this, I never saw a case with so much evidence. You are the evidence that true love transcends death. Use it well, honor it. Don't waste it. That night, Jonathan and Emily talked for hours in the library of the mansion, with the medallion on the table between them, with the recording playing on loop, processing, accepting, marveling. "I'm scared," admitted Emily, "of loving you, because the last time The last time our love killed you. Jonathan took her hands. I know. But this time is different. There's no king, no inquisition, no laws that prohibit this. There's just us and 372 years of waiting, of searching, of promises to fulfill. But I'm an employee. You're a millionaire. The world is going to... I don't care about the world, Jonathan interrupted her. I've spent 42 years feeling empty, searching for something I didn't know what it was. And now I know. It was you. It was always you. And I'm not going to let you go for something as insignificant as money or social class. Emily cried, but they were different tears, not of pain, of relief, of hope, of love that had waited centuries to be expressed freely. They kissed for the first time in this life, and when their lips touched, they felt everything. 372 years of longing, of searching, of promises. It felt like coming home after being lost for eternities. It felt like breathing after being underwater. It felt like they were finally complete. And in that moment, without them seeing it, something extraordinary happened. The roses in the garden of the mansion, that had been withered for weeks, bloomed, all of them at the same time, as if the energy of that kiss, of that reunion, was so powerful that it gave life to everything around it. Mrs. Higgins saw it from the kitchen window, and she crossed herself, because in 60 years of life, she had never seen roses bloom in the middle of winter. She had never seen that kind of magic. But there it was, silent witness to something that defied all logic. The following days were transformative. Jonathan gave Emily a room on the second floor, a real room, not an employee's room. He bought her clothes, toys for Lily, everything they needed, but more importantly, he gave her time to process, to decide, to choose, without pressure, without expectations, just presence, constant, loving, protective. And one afternoon, Emily did something that Jonathan had recommended, something she needed to do to close the circle. He went to the piano in the main hall, a Steinway grand piano that no one had touched since Jonathan's mother passed away 10 years ago. Emily had never played piano, ever. Not a single lesson, not a tutorial, nothing. But she sat down in front of the keys, closed her eyes and took a deep breath, and played. Her fingers moved on their own, without thinking, without hesitating. They played a melody, complex, beautiful, heartbreaking, a piece that didn't exist in any modern repertoire. It was from 1652, a composition that Lady Eleanor used to play in the palace, one that Daniel would listen to, hidden behind the door, one that no one had played in 372 years. Jonathan listened from his office, and it was as if he'd been struck by lightning, because he recognized that melody from his dreams, from his visions, from his memories that shouldn't exist. He ran to the hall. He saw Emily playing, tears falling onto the keys, fingers moving with impossible mastery. When she finished, there was silence, and Emily opened her eyes, looked at her own hands, trembling. I don't know how to play the piano. Jonathan approached, tears also falling. I know, but Lady Eleanor did. It was the ultimate proof. Object proof number 3, not a physical mark, not a material object, but a skill, a knowledge that had crossed lifetimes, that manifested when it was necessary, to demonstrate, to validate, to close any doubts that remained. Daniel came to the mansion the next day with professional recording equipment. He recorded Emily playing that piece. Then he consulted with musicologists, with experts in Spanish Baroque music, and they confirmed that melody, that style. It was from the 17th century. Techniques that are no longer taught, harmonies that were lost in time. There was no way, absolutely no logical way, that Emily could play that, unless unless she really was who they said she was, who they remembered being. Dr. Daniel Miller wrote an academic article about the case. Without real names, he published it in the Journal of Consciousness Studies, Case of Twin Flame Recognition with Verifiable Historical Evidence and Manifestation of Past Life Abilities. It caused controversy, skepticism, fascination, but they couldn't deny the recordings, the historical documents, the evidence, and while the academic world debated, Jonathan and Emily lived, loved, recovered 372 lost years, with every kiss, with every conversation, with every stolen moment that they didn't have to hide anymore. But the story wasn't over yet, because the ultimate proof was missing. Object proof number 4, and the final decision, together or separated, repeat the past or create a new future. Jonathan made a decision. I want us to travel together, to Spain, to Seville, to the General Archive of the Indies. I want to see the original documents with my own eyes. I need to know that all this really happened. Emily nodded. Me too. They organized everything in a week. Tickets, hotel, appointment with archivists. Jonathan used his business contacts, his influence, to expedite access to ancient documents normally restricted to the public. And he left Lily with Mrs. Higgins. The little girl adored the elderly housekeeper. She would be fine. The flight to Madrid was 12 hours. Jonathan bought Emily a first-class ticket. She protested, "It's too much. I don't need it." But he insisted, "You spent enough time on your knees cleaning floors. This time you travel like the queen you are." Emily cried and accepted. During the flight, they talked. About everything, about nothing, about lives they remembered and lives they were building, about fears, about hopes, about the impossible that had become real. And Jonathan noticed something. He noticed that when Emily slept, her face transformed, acquired a serenity, a nobility that spoke of another time, another life, of a crown she no longer wore but could still feel. They landed in Madrid, rented a car, drove 5 hours to Seville, and when they saw the city, when they saw the ancient streets, the stone buildings that had witnessed centuries, they both felt something, a pull, as if this land remembered their footsteps, even though they had never been here, in this life. The General Archive of the Indies is a majestic 16th century building, home to millions of documents, silent witness to 500 years of Spanish history, of conquests, of tragedies, of forbidden loves, of secrets buried in yellowed paper that no one touches for decades. The chief archivist, Dr. Carmen Vasquez, 58 years old, her entire life dedicated to preserving history, received them with professional skepticism. You are looking for documents from the Inquisition trials of 1653, specifically the case of a Captain Daniel Hayes and references to Lady Eleanor of Aquitaine. Jonathan nodded. Exactly. Carmen looked at them for a long time. These types of documents, these types of cases, they are sensitive, traumatic, part of Spain's darkest era. Why the interest? Jonathan took a deep breath. Because we believe that we are connected to this history, in a way, inexplicable. Carmen raised an eyebrow. I see. Well, let me check the catalogue. An hour passed. Carmen returned with an old box, made of wood, sealed, covered in dust. Here it is. Inquisition trial against Daniel Hayes. Year 1653. No one has opened this box in, she looked at the label, in 47 years. The last consultation was in 1978, for a doctoral thesis. Since then, nothing. Jonathan and Emily looked at each other, hands trembling. Carmen opened the box with white gloves, took out the documents with extreme care. Brittle paper, faded ink, but legible. still legible after 372 years, and there it was, the first document, indictment, against Captain Daniel Hayes of the Royal Guard, for the crime of seduction of Her Majesty Lady Eleanor of Aquitaine, crime against the Crown, treason, heresy, sentence, death at the stake, scheduled execution date, May 3rd, 1653. Carmen continued taking out papers, testimonies of servants who saw them together, intercepted letters, confessions obtained under torture, every word, every detail, a dagger in the heart, because they described love, true love, punished with fire. And then Carmen took out something different, a rolled-up parchment. Larger, she unfurled it carefully, and Jonathan turned white, completely white, because it was a drawing, a sketch of the execution, made by a court artist, recording the event for posterity. As a warning, the drawing showed a man tied to a stake, surrounded by flames, face upward in agony, and around, a crowd watching, and on the palace balcony, a woman with a crown, forced to watch, to witness the death of the man she loved. But what made Jonathan collapse, what made him fall to his knees right there in the archive, was the face, the man's face in the drawing. Daniel Hayes, 35 years old, captain of the Royal Guard, executed for love. It was exactly identical to Jonathan. The same eyes, the same jawline, the same small scar above his right eyebrow, which Jonathan had since childhood, a birthmark. But Daniel had it as a battle scar. Emily knelt beside him, staring at the drawing, weeping, because on the balcony, the woman with the crown, it was her, same features, same hair, same posture, like looking in a mirror from 372 years ago. Lily stepped back, pale. This can't be. But Jonathan and Emily's tears, the way they embraced, the way they looked at the drawing as if they were seeing their own deaths. Lily knew. She knew that something impossible, something that defied all logic, was happening before her eyes. I need to sit down," Lily murmured. "This, never in 35 years working here, never." She sat, hands trembling, looking at Jonathan, then at the drawing, then at Jonathan again. "It's you. It is. How is it possible?" "We don't know," Jonathan responded, his voice breaking. "We just know that it's real. All this really happened. And somehow, in some impossible way, we are them. We came back. We found each other again." Lily left them alone, to process, to weep, to hold on to that drawing that was visual proof, irrefutable, impossible to deny, impossible to explain with science, or logic, or reason, only with love, with souls that transcend bodies, with promises that traverse centuries. If you haven't felt this, if you've never looked at someone and seen centuries in their eyes, if you've never touched someone and felt that you touched that skin 1,000 times before, then you can't understand. You can't comprehend the kind of terror mixed with relief that Jonathan and Emily felt, seeing proof of their death, but also proof of their eternal love, proof that some promises are stronger than death. Lily returned an hour later, with more documents. "I found something else, something that you need to see." And it was the post-mortem inventory of Lady Eleanor, who died 3 months after Daniel's execution, officially of fever. Unofficially, everyone knew it was poison. The court couldn't allow a tainted queen to continue breathing. The document listed all her belongings: jewels, dresses, books, furniture, and physical identifying marks, to confirm that the body in the coffin was really her. And there, in the list, described with cold, bureaucratic precision: birthmark on left shoulder, the shape of a fleur-de-lis, symbol of the royal house of Aquitaine. Emily stood motionless, not breathing. Then, without saying a word, she pulled down the neck of her sweater, exposed her left shoulder, and there, for Lily to see, for the universe to witness, was the mark, exactly as the 1653 document described. Fleur-de-lis, left shoulder, identical. Lily crossed herself. She sat down heavily. This goes against everything I know, against everything I believe, but it's here. The proofs are here. I can't deny what I'm seeing. Her voice trembled. You really are them, aren't you? Jonathan nodded, weeping, holding Emily, who was also weeping. Yes, we are them, and we've waited 372 years to come back, to find each other, to have another chance, to love without punishment, without death, without fire. Lily gave them copies of everything, of the drawing, of the documents, of the inventory. She gave them her signed testimony as official archivist, confirming authenticity, confirming that what they saw, what they found, was real, historically verifiable, impossibly connected to them. And when they left the archive, when they walked through the ancient streets of Vermont, they felt as if ghosts from 372 years ago could finally rest. As if Daniel and Eleanor finally had peace because their love had been validated, documented, proven. It wasn't madness, it wasn't sin, it was true love that survived death, torture, time, and returned. That night in the hotel they made love, for the first time, completely, and it was. It was as if two halves of a soul merged, as if 372 years of separation evaporated in an instant, as if every kiss, every caress, every whisper corrected centuries of injustice, of pain, of waiting. And Jonathan whispered in her ear, "I found you, I finally found you, and this time, no one is going to separate us. I promise you, I swear to you, with every future life I have, it will always be you." Emily wept, with happiness, with relief, with love so deep it hurt, and responded, "I found you too, my soldier, my guardian, my Daniel. You've waited so long, we've waited so long. And now we can finally be together, without fear, without hiding, without punishment." They returned to New York City 2 days later, with suitcases full of copies of documents, of proofs, of evidence of the impossible, and with hearts full, complete, for the first time in 372 years, complete. But the universe doesn't end stories easily, because when they arrived at the mansion, when they opened the door, they found Jonathan's family waiting. His father, Richard Hayes, 71 years old, patriarch, owner of the family fortune, his older sister, Patricia, 45 years old, controlling, protector of the family name, and his uncle, Edward, 68 years old, lawyer, the one who always handled the legal issues, the problems, the scandals, all there, in the living room, waiting. Mrs. Higgins had informed them. They had arrived 2 days ago, asking questions, investigating, discovering that Jonathan, that the heir, that the CEO of the family empire was seeing the employee. Jonathan felt the air change. He felt the danger. The same danger he felt 372 years ago when the Inquisition knocked on the door, when they discovered the secret, when everything collapsed. No, he thought, not again. I'm not going to allow this to happen again. Patricia spoke first. "Jonathan, we need to talk about her." She looked at Emily with barely disguised contempt. "About the decisions, very inappropriate, that you've been making." Jonathan took a step forward, protective. "My decision," he said firmly. "Emily is important to me. More than important. She is everything." Richard stood up, his voice cold, controlled, dangerous. "Jonathan, I understand that after the divorce, after being alone, you might get confused, seek company. But this is unacceptable. She's an employee." He paused, Edward interrupted him. She's unsuitable for someone of your position, of your status, of your last name. Emily stepped back. She felt the weight, the same weight she felt when she was queen and the court discovered her secret, when judges and cardinals looked at her with disgust, with contempt, with hatred for daring to love outside the lines. The same gazes, 372 years later. Different faces, same poison. Jonathan felt Emily's tension. He took her hand firmly and spoke with a voice that brooked no argument. Listen to me, all of you. Emily isn't just important to me, she is my soulmate. And I mean that literally, not metaphorically, literally. I've loved her for lifetimes, for centuries, and I just returned from Vermont with proof, with historical documents that validate, that confirm that she and I have been together before, and we were separated violently, tragically, and I am not going to let it happen again. Patricia let out a dry laugh. Jonathan, please, soulmates, past lives. You've been watching too many TV shows. This is ridiculous. It's embarrassing. Think about the family, the business, your reputation. None of that matters to me, Jonathan roared, and everyone fell silent, because they had never seen him like this, with that intensity, that desperation, that fire in his eyes. I've spent 42 years feeling empty, feeling incomplete, working, building, accumulating. For what? To impress you all? To fulfill expectations I didn't even want? To fill a void I never understood, until now, until I found her. And now that I have her, now that I'm finally complete, you think I'm going to let her go? For money? For pedigree? For reputation? No, never. Richard approached, dangerously, calmly. Jonathan, if you continue with this, if you insist on this inappropriate relationship, we'll have no choice. The family, the board, will vote to remove you as CEO, to disinherit you, to cut you off completely from the family fortune, because we can't. We cannot allow the Hayes name to be associated with this. Jonathan looked him straight in the eye. Without blinking, then do it. Patricia gasped, Jonathan, you can't be serious. Jonathan turned to her, completely serious. I'll resign from everything, the company, the fortune, the name if necessary, because nothing is worth more than her, than what we have, than the opportunity to correct 372 years of injustice. Edward stepped forward. Jonathan, son, think about what you're saying. That woman, she has a daughter. She's a single mother. She works as a housekeeper. What future can she offer you? What? Jonathan cut him off. She offers me love, true, eternal, proven through lifetimes. And that's worth more than all the millions this family has accumulated. Emily couldn't take it anymore. Tears falling. Jonathan, no, you can't sacrifice everything for me, your family, your company, your life. I'll leave. And Jonathan took her by the shoulders, looked her straight in the eyes. No, not again. I'm not going to let you go again. Last time I watched you die. I watched you be poisoned. I watched you be destroyed because I wasn't strong enough, because I couldn't protect you. But this time I am strong enough, and I'm going to protect you against whomever, against whatever, even against my own family. Emily sobbed. But they're right. I'm just a housekeeper. I have nothing. I'm nobody. Jonathan shook her gently. You're a queen. You were a queen. You are a queen. And I was your guardian, your protector, your soldier, who died for you and was reborn to find you again, to love you without punishment. And this time I'll do it right. This time no one will separate us. Patricia looked at Richard, at Edward. He's crazy. He's completely crazy. We need to act. We need to... Richard raised his hand. Silencing her, he looked at Jonathan for a long time, studying him. Then he spoke. You have 1 week to decide. Family or her. Company or her. Fortune or her. Choose. But if you choose her, Jonathan, if you choose her, there's no turning back. You'll be nobody to us. Jonathan didn't hesitate for a second. I choose her. Now, always, in every life. I choose her. Richard paled. Jonathan, think. You're 42 years old. Without the company, you'll be an employee, working for others, earning nothing compared to what you have now. Are you willing to... Yes, Jonathan interrupted. I'm willing to everything. The Hayes family left, in silence, defeated, furious, confused, leaving threats in the air, leaving ultimatums, leaving the weight of impossible decisions. But Jonathan didn't tremble, didn't hesitate. He just held Emily, who was crying against his chest, repeating, you can't sacrifice everything. I don't deserve it. I'm not worth it. And Jonathan lifted her face. Gently. Look at me. Emily looked at him. Green eyes full of tears, of fear, of love. You are worth it. More than all the gold in the world, more than all the companies, more than all the prestigious names, because you are my other half, my soulmate, my queen, and I've waited 372 years for this. To be able to love you freely, without fear, without punishment, and I am not going to waste it on something so insignificant as money. And there, in that living room, with the threat of disinheritance hanging over them, with the weight of 2 lives converging, with 372 years of waiting culminating, they made the decision, together, come what may, against whatever, against whomever, this time love would win. Because some stories aren't just of one lifetime. They're of eternities. They're of souls that search for each other, that find each other, that get lost, that return again and again, until finally they can be together without interruptions, without tragedies, without fire. And Jonathan and Emily, Daniel and Lady Eleanor, 372 years later, finally they were ready to write their happy ending, whatever the cost, make whatever decisions they had to make. Because love, true love, love that transcends lives, doesn't negotiate, doesn't surrender, doesn't accept less than eternity. If this story makes you believe that true love exists, if it makes you feel that there's someone waiting for you somewhere in the universe, give it super thanks, because stories like this, stories that defy death and time, need to be told, need to be heard, need to remind us that some loves are stronger than everything. The following days were tense. The Hayes family carried out their threat. Jonathan was removed as CEO, his name removed from the family will, his bank accounts linked to the company frozen. In 72 hours, he went from a billionaire to an ordinary man, with only what was in his personal account, approximately $850,000, a lot for most. Nothing compared to the $340 million he managed before. But Jonathan didn't cry, didn't lament, didn't regret. Because every time he looked at Emily, every time he held her hand, every time he kissed her, he knew he had made the right decision. He had chosen love over power, soulmate over pedigree, eternity over temporary money. They sold the mansion. Well, it was a family estate, so they had to leave. Jonathan bought an apartment, modest, 3 bedrooms in a middle-class neighborhood. It wasn't a palace, but it was theirs, truly theirs. No strings attached, no conditions, no controlling family dictating how to live. Emily moved in with Lily, and for the first time in years, for the first time since her husband left her, pregnant, she felt safe, protected, loved, not for what she could offer, but for who she was, for who she had been, for who she would continue to be in this life and all the lives to come. Jonathan looked for a job. His resume was impressive. MBA, 15 years of experience as CEO. Companies wanted him. They offered him executive positions, well paid, respected, and he accepted one, Director of Development at a sustainable construction company. He earned $180,000 a year, nothing compared to what he had before, but sufficient, more than sufficient, and something changed in him. Jonathan came home at 6 p.m., not 11 p.m. He had dinner with Emily and Lily, not with clients and partners. He played with the little girl, read her stories, laughed, lived for the first time in 42 years. He was truly living. One night, 6 months after the ultimatum, Jonathan took Emily to the place where they met, to the Italian marble floor, where she was on her knees, cleaning, where he had the vision, where it all began. In this life, the new owner of the mansion, a tech entrepreneur, gave them permission to visit. For an hour, Jonathan had explained the story, well, part of it, and the man. A romantic himself, understood. Jonathan knelt down on that same floor, now cleaned by others, and he pulled out a box. Small, blue velvet. Emily gasped, hands over her mouth, tears already falling. Emily Carter, Lady Eleanor of Aquitaine, my queen, my love, my soulmate through the ages. I have waited 372 years for this moment, to be able to do this, without fear, without consequences, without death waiting. I have loved you in 2 lives, and I will love you in all the ones to come. Marry me, not out of obligation, not for a political arrangement, but for love, pure love, eternal love, love that has already been tested, that can survive anything. Jonathan opened the box. Inside was a ring, not a giant diamond, not ostentatious gold, but an antique ring, silver, with a small emerald green stone, and engraved on the inside, Eleanor plus Daniel, 1651. Emily collapsed, crying, trembling. This is, Jonathan nodded. It's the ring, the one I gave you, 372 years ago. I found it in the archive. Lily helped me locate it. It was in a museum, in a private collection. I bought it. Well, what was left of my savings. But it's yours. It was always yours. I was just waiting to give it back to you. Emily looked at him, green eyes shining with tears, with love, with recognition. Yes, yes, 1,000 times yes. In this life, in the last, in all the ones to come, it will always be yes. With you. Jonathan slid the ring on her finger, and it fit perfectly, as if it had been made for her, because it was, 372 years ago, by a silversmith in Vermont, for a captain in love, who gave it to her in secret, to his queen, promising her eternity. And now that promise was being fulfilled. They got married a month later. Small ceremony, only Dr. Harrison as a witness, Mrs. Higgins crying with happiness, and Lily, 3 years old, in a flower dress, as a bridesmaid, without Jonathan's family, without the press, without ostentation, just love, pure, simple, eternal. The judge who married them noticed something strange. When Jonathan said his vows, the lights flickered, the candles in the room lit themselves, and a gust of wind, warm, impossible, because they were inside, blew through the room, as if someone else, someone from another era, was blessing this union, finally allowed, finally free. And when they kissed, when they sealed their marriage, they both felt presences, not threatening, but loving, grateful. Daniel and Eleanor, from 1651, finally at peace, because their souls had found their way back to each other. And this time, no one would separate them. Emily whispered against his lips. "We did it. We finally did it." Jonathan smiled. Tears of happiness. "Yes, we did it. 372 years. But it was worth it. Every second, every life, every search. It was all worth it. For this, for you, for their honeymoon. They went back to Europe, specifically to England. But this time, not to archives, not to look for proof, but to heal, to close circles. They traveled to the ruins of an old castle outside of London, where Eleanor lived, where Daniel served, where their love bloomed in secret. The ruins are now a historical park. Tourists walk around, without knowing, without feeling, without understanding that beneath those stones, beneath those gardens, are stories, tragedies, loves that defied empires. Jonathan and Emily walked hand in hand through the gardens, and they found something they weren't expecting. A rose garden, ancient, almost dead, with only 3 or 4 rose bushes surviving, withered, forgotten, not blooming for years according to the sign. Royal Garden, 1640, closed to the public due to deterioration, but they jumped the small fence. They couldn't help it. They felt called. They walked among the dead rose bushes, and Emily knelt down. She touched one, tenderly, as if she remembered. Having been here before, having touched these same roses, in another body, in another life, 372 years ago. And then it happened. The impossible, the magical, what no science can explain, but that love, true love, makes possible. The rose that Emily touched blossomed instantaneously, red petals, vibrant, perfect, sprouting from a dead stem. Impossible, but real. Jonathan gasped. Emily too, and she touched another rose. It blossomed. She touched another. It blossomed, one by one. Every rose she touched, every withered plant she brushed, came back to life, as if her energy, her love, their reunion was so powerful that it literally gave life to what had died in 15 minutes, and the whole garden, the garden that had been dead for decades, was blooming. Bright red, pure white, soft pink, golden yellow, like in 1651, when Eleanor walked here, when Daniel waited for her hidden, when their love was secret but real, more real than all the thrones and crowns in the world. A gardener from the park saw them. He ran, shouting, "What? What did you do? These roses have been dead for 40 years. How?" Jonathan and Emily just smiled, tears falling, and they answered, "Love, only love. Love that waited 372 years to return, to blossom, to live." The gardener looked at them as if they were crazy, but he couldn't deny, he couldn't explain what his eyes saw. Dead garden, now alive, impossible. But there it was, silent witness that some things transcend science, transcend logic. They can only be explained by love, by souls, by eternity. The story went viral. Garden dead for 40 years, mysteriously blooms. Scientists arrived. They took samples, analyzed the soil, studied the plants. They found no explanation. The roses, genetically, they were dead, without water, without nutrients, without any possibility of life. But they flourished, vibrant, healthy, impossibly alive. Dr. Higgins saw the news. He smiled because he knew. He had seen the recordings, the documents, the evidence. He knew that Jonathan and Emily were not ordinary people. They were ancient souls, reconnected. And when souls like that, souls that have loved for centuries, reunite, even nature responds, even the dead revive, even the impossible becomes possible. Higgins wrote a second article, Case of Twin Flame Reconnection with Verifiable Physical Manifestation. Historic rose garden blooms after 40 years of death coincides with visit of couple with documented evidence of reincarnation. The article was rejected by 8 journals. Too impossible, too mystical, too real. Finally, a paranormal studies magazine accepted it, and it caused a sensation. They returned to New York, to their modest apartment in the Upper East Side, to their simple life, but a complete one. Jonathan worked at Hayes Enterprises. Emily began online studies to become a therapist. She wanted to help others, to find their purpose, their love, their peace, as she had found hers. Lily went to kindergarten, happy, loved, with a family, finally, a complete family. And one night, 3 years after getting married, Emily gave Jonathan some news. He was in the kitchen, preparing dinner. She came in, nervous, excited, scared, and she showed him a pregnancy test, positive. Jonathan dropped the knife, his hands trembling. Now, this is... Emily nodded, crying. We're going to have a baby, our baby. Jonathan embraced her tightly, crying too, because they knew that in 1653. Lady Eleanor became pregnant with Daniel's child, but she lost the baby when she was poisoned. They never could have a family. But now, 372 years later, finally, they could. The pregnancy was magical. Emily glowed, literally. Her skin, her energy, everything about her radiated light, love, life. The doctors said, I've never seen a pregnant woman so healthy, so happy, so complete. And it was because this was 372 years in the making. This was a dream, finally fulfilled. When the moment arrived, labor was quick, without complications, as if the universe was saying, you've suffered enough. This time everything will be perfect. And a boy was born, 8 pounds, 6 ounces, healthy, perfect, shouting loudly. When the nurse cleaned him, when she wrapped him, she noticed something on the baby's chest, a birthmark in the shape of a sword, small but clear, a sword, like the ones used by captains of the Royal Guard in 1650. Jonathan saw the mark, and he broke down, crying, because he knew exactly who this baby was, not just his son, but Daniel, the Daniel of 1653, the captain, the soldier, Eleanor's love. He had returned, not as himself, but as his son, to, finally, be part of the family that he never could have in that life. They named him Daniel. Obviously, Daniel Jonathan Hayes Carter. And when he grew, when he was 2 years old, 3 years old, 4 years old, he showed things. He spoke of battles, of horses, of swords, without having watched shows, without having read books. He just remembered vaguely, like echoes of another life, another existence, another mission, that now, finally, was complete. Lily adored her little brother. She protected him. She took care of him. And sometimes, Emily saw her playing with Daniel, and she swore that she saw shadows, silhouettes of the original Eleanor and Daniel, smiling, watching, grateful, because their souls had found peace, had found family, had found the happy ending that was taken from them 372 years ago, but that finally, they had. 5 years have passed since then. Daniel is 5 years old, Lily is 8, Jonathan is 47, Emily is 33, and they are happy, not rich. Jonathan earns well. Emily works part-time as a therapist. They have enough, not extra, but it's enough, more than enough, because they have love. Love that waited centuries, love that survived death, torture, separation, inquisition, controlling family, class differences. Love that simply does not accept defeat, does not accept less than eternity. The Hayes family eventually softened. Jonathan's father, Richard, now 76 years old, became ill, cancer terminal, and he asked to see Jonathan one last time. Jonathan went with Emily, with his children, and Richard, seeing them, seeing the happiness, the peace, the completeness in his son's eyes, he cried and he begged for forgiveness. I was wrong. I thought money was the most important thing. I thought surname was legacy. But I see now, looking at you, that the only thing that matters is love. And you, my son, you found it, you honored it, you chose it, and that makes you richer than all of us together. Jonathan forgave him because he had learned that holding on to pain, to resentment, only poisons, only destroys, only repeats cycles. And he had broken the cycle. He had chosen differently. He had chosen love, and he wasn't going to tarnish it with bitterness. Richard died 2 weeks later, and in his will, he surprised everyone. He left $50 million to Jonathan with a note: for the son who had the courage that I never had, to love above all else, use it well, use it for good, and forgive me. Jonathan cried, reading the note, not for the money, but for the recognition, for the validation, for the peace that his father finally found before dying. They used the money for good. They created a foundation helping single mothers, like Emily once was, giving them housing, education, opportunities, so that no woman has to kneel to clean floors out of desperation, out of need, out of lack of options. The foundation is called Eleanor and Daniel, the Soul-Seeking Foundation, and it helps hundreds each year to find not only resources, but hope, purpose, and maybe their own twin flame waiting somewhere. Through time, Dr. Higgins, now 70 years old, continues to study the case. He has published 5 more articles. He presents at conferences, and he always says, in 40 years of research, thousands of cases of supposed reincarnation, only one has all the evidence, all the elements, all the verification. Jonathan and Emily, Daniel and Eleanor are the definitive case, the irrefutable evidence that love transcends death, transcends time, transcends everything. And today, in this moment, while you speak, while you listen, while you doubt if this is real, if this is possible, somewhere in New York City, in a modest apartment in the Upper East Side, but filled with love, Jonathan Hayes embraces Emily Carter, his wife, his queen, his twin flame, and whispers, "Thank you. Thank you for waiting for me. Thank you for finding me. Thank you for choosing me in this life and in the last, and in all the ones to come." And Emily responds, "Always, I will always choose you, my soldier, my guardian, my Daniel. I waited 372 years. I would wait 372 more, if it were necessary, because you are my home, my peace, my eternity." And in the garden of her small apartment, there's a rose bush, just one, transplanted from Spain, from the royal garden of 1640, that blooms all year round, no matter the climate, no matter the season. Red roses, perfect, impossible, but real as the love that made them bloom after 372 years of waiting. If this story touched you, if you felt something listening to it, if it made you believe, even for a moment, that true love, that soulmates, that eternity are real, give it a super thanks, share it. Because stories like this, stories that defy everything, that prove that some loves never die, need to be told, need to remind us that it's worth it to wait, to search, to believe, because somewhere, sometime, through some life, There's someone waiting for you, searching for you, loving you, since before they met you. And when they find each other, when they recognize each other, when their souls say, it's you, finally, it's you, all the pain, all the waiting, all the searching will be worth it. This was the story of Jonathan and Emily, of Daniel and Lady Eleanor, of two souls, separated by 372 years, reunited by destiny, united by love, love that conquered death, conquered time, conquered everything, and that now, finally, lives free, eternal, complete. And if you pay attention, if you listen with your soul, not with your ears, you can feel them. Jonathan and Emily, Daniel and Lady Eleanor, all the loves that transcend lives, whispering, don't give up, don't stop searching, don't stop believing, because your soulmate is out there, waiting, and when you find each other, when you finally recognize each other, you'll know that everything, absolutely everything, was worth it. For that moment, for that love, for that eternity, the end